Welcome back to the Fanspire. I'm Priyanka, and today we are here with another episode of the Fanspire Spotlight. As you've seen on our channel, we've been talking to a lot of fans from various leagues across the globe. But we want to put the spotlight on some of the leagues in our own country that we think haven't been in the spotlight as much as it should. And one of them is the IWL. So, of course, today we'll be talking to another player who has played in the IWL, played all around the country and internationally as well. We are super glad to have her on the show. So, let's welcome Karen. Hi,
Hey,
Karen. Welcome to the show.
hi Priyanka, thank you so much.
I'm literally so glad to have you here. Can't wait to talk to you. Can't wait to discuss a lot of things about football with you.
Me too, I'm super excited. Looking forward to it.
Great, great. So before we go ahead, let's watch this quick video of your free kick, which was very recently in the IWL in Mumbai, and I think it's absolutely brilliant. So let's take a quick look at the video.
All right.
As you can see, that was absolutely brilliant. Karen, can you just let us know, how are you feeling in that moment, and what a brilliant free kick that was?
Of course, I that was one of the best moments so far in my career. Only because my team, Bodyline FC, we were one goal down, and we needed that point. We needed either 3 points or that 1 point to stay in the tournament, to stay in the league. And I know there was just 10 minutes left on the clock, and we win this free kick. And the first thought that comes to my mind when I place the ball down and I look up is like, wait a minute, it's too far for me to try at goal. Okay, being very honest, I thought it's very far for me to try at goal. Right, but when I started taking my run up, when I started going back, I was like, I'm going to give it my best. All the energy that I have it in me, I'm going to put it in this shot, and I am going to go for goal irrespective. And I know where I wanted to go. I know where I wanted to aim at, and I gave it my best shot. And the results, as you could see, it really turned out well, and I was really happy. That was one of the best moments, as I mentioned. It was a really happy moment for me.
Definitely, I think you should be really proud of that. And if anyone wants to debate about the quality of football, women's football in India, I think we can just show them the video and say, no, our girls are pretty good too. So, Karen, to come to this stage and, shoot a free kick from such a long range, it doesn't happen overnight. It takes a lot of practice, a lot of hard work, years of it, in fact. So, where did your football journey actually begin?
Okay, so my football journey began right from my building. So right from the age I was 6, 7 years old, I started playing football with the boys in my building. It was fun. That was the only sport I used to like to play. Every evening, every morning, we used to play football. So that's how I started developing a liking towards the sport. So when I became 10 years old, I started playing for my school. I started playing in competitive tournaments. From then, I got selected for the district team, for the state team, and then I also got called for the national camp. So how it started by playing in my building with the boys in my building, and that's how I started developing a love towards this game because then I didn't want to play anything else. I just wanted to play football, and that's how I got completely into it. That's how I know this is what I want to do. This is what I want to train at.
I think
That's how I
I think
started playing.
I think that's absolutely brilliant. You've gone from playing in your building to now playing at such a huge level. So, can you quickly tell us where all have you played? Because obviously it's been a long journey since the time you were 10 and right up till now. It's definitely been a long journey. So, where all have you played at?
Sure. So to start with, I've played with my school. That's Mary Macleod in Borivali itself. Then also I've played in different districts in Maharashtra. To name a few, you can say I've played in Pune, in Buldana, in Jalgaon, and a few more districts. And then to go on, I've also represented Maharashtra. So the state level championships have taken place in Odisha, sometimes in Goa. Then I've also went on to represent my country, India. So there I've played in two different countries. So I've played in Sri Lanka, in Colombo, and I've also played in Dhaka. And then for the IWL, I also went on to represent a club in Delhi called Hans Women FC. So I've also played in Delhi. And I've also represented Alakpura FC, which is a Haryana based club. And I played the IWL pre qualifiers for them in Bangalore. I think that was last year in 2020. Yes, in 2020 Jan. So I've played in different districts and in different states as well. And internationally, I've played in Colombo and in Dhaka because these two are the countries that hosted the tournaments, the 4 years that I played.
Also, been to the UK to play over there, right?
Yes, correct. I played with Cardiff Metropolitan University in the Bucks League.
That is so diverse and so brilliant that you've had this experience of playing everywhere. So first off, I'd like to ask you about the IWL clubs that you've represented. Firstly, Bodyline FC. What has been your experience with this club, and how have you grown over here?
So Borderline FC has been the first club that I played with in the IWL. When I was in school, right from 10 years old till I was 15 years old, I played for my school club called IC United. When I finished with my schooling, when I finished with my 10th grade, I knew it was time to move forward, to move to a bigger club. And that was actually a very intense 1 month of my life after my board exams were over, because I was discussing, okay, what next? I had a few clubs in mind. Obviously, Bodyline was one of them. So I had to decide which club to go for. Okay, and then after putting a lot of thought into it, discussing with my dad, I knew Bodyline was the club for me. Why? Because of their dedication, because of their discipline. They had regular practices, and plus I knew a lot of players who played for Bodyline, who played at different levels. They had senior players as well. So right from the time I was 15, 16 years old, that's when I've played with Bodyline. I've grown a lot as a player. The bunch of players over there are really good. It's amazing to play with them. They have helped me to grow not just as a player but also as a person. The disciplinary factor to be on time for games, sharing with each other. And the coaches, Marshall sir and Ajay sir, and all the coaches who have been there all these years have been really amazing in nurturing us as players and also as better persons. And he's always supportive of us as players. So my growth in these last 5 years have been amazing with Bodyland, and I only see myself continue to grow with that club because I currently still play for them only.
I think that's brilliant. And I loved how you stressed upon the factors about discipline and things like that, because when we talk about professional football today, I think that is something really important that a lot of clubs are, should be implementing. And especially as women's football is growing, that we hope that there are clubs all over in all states for girls to, actually get that kind of professional training. Brilliant. And, you also kind of mentioned your dad helped you in choosing. So it's brilliant that your parents have, been a part of your journey. So how have they been so supportive? And can you tell us a little about that too?
Of course, I would love to speak about this because my mom and dad have been the most supportive right from the time I started playing. Right from my schooling days, even though I had exams, I had an exam period going on, we hear a lot of people telling their children stop playing, start studying. My parents never said that, be it a normal terminal exam, be it board exams, be it even 1 month before the board. They were always supportive. You go play because we know that's what you love doing, but we also know you'll study. They didn't say that don't study or anything that way. They told me play, but you also have to equally focus on your studies. My dad in particular has traveled with me to every single place that I have been outside the state. He's come with me to Colombo as well when I've represented India. He's come with me to Bangladesh as well. You name it, and he's come. He's come to Goa. He's come to Delhi. He's been to Kolkata. He's been everywhere, and they have been really supportive. And it's only because of them that I've been able to continue with my journey. Because to be honest, if your parents are not supportive, you feel like, should I continue with this or not? But my parents, even when I had doubts on myself, my dad was like, no, you can do it. Go for it. You don't have to stop playing because you have your exams or anything coming up. You give your best in your studies. Your results will follow. If you put in your efforts, if you put in your work in your studies as well, you'll get the results you want. We are not looking for you to get 90, 95%. You get 75, 80%. That is also completely fine. And that's exactly what happened. This support from my parents motivated me. And not I played till February, right? Your board exams are in March and 10th. I played till February, and I still managed to get a good 74%. In fact, my dad celebrated it. He gave pastries to everybody in the building. So they have been really supportive, and they continue to be supportive even now. In fact, to talk of the current situation, I'm doing correspondence, so that's distance learning. So that they make sure, my mom and dad told me that you focus on your football. We know you want to get to the senior Indian team. You focus, you practice 5 to 6 days a week. You don't have to bother about attending lectures and going to college. And this was before the pandemic. Now, though people can't attend because of the pandemic, but even before that, dad told me you do correspondence, do distance learning. It's fine. You have only one exam a year. Throughout the year, you can focus on your practices. So that's how supportive they've always been, and they continue to be. So that has been my main pillar of strength.
Honestly, shout out to your parents. That is like so amazing that they've been so supportive. And we've spoken to a lot of girls before, on this platform, and the parental support, the support from the family is obviously not there initially for a lot of girls. And I hope a lot more parents actually continue to support their girls and their children playing sports like your parents have done, because that's definitely amazing.
Absolutely.
And so now let's move on to talking about the other club that you represented at the IWL, Hans Women's FC. That's in Delhi. So again, how has that experience been for you playing with them?
Okay. So Hans Women FC, right? So the first time I played with them was in 2017 for the IWL qualifiers, because in the pre-qualifiers over here in Mumbai, Bodyland did not qualify. And I had a friend of mine who was playing for Hans Women FC from Delhi. So she got in touch with me and she was like, why not play for us? We have a good squad. And she told me about the team and about the coach and everything. I was like, okay, if I'm getting an opportunity to play for the qualifiers of the Indian Women's League, why not? So that was my first time I played for Hans Women FC in the IWL in the qualifiers, sorry, in 2017. And I'm telling you this, they are a bunch of talented people. I had a really good experience with them. I got to play with senior players. I always look up to Jyoti Bharat, right? She was also a part of the team. So I got to play with her. I was really inspired. I got really happy. And it has been a great experience because it was my first time playing outside Bodyland for another club, and they welcomed me really well. They are really good people as well, along with amazing footballers. So my experience with them has been really good, and that's what made me make the decision to continue to play with them even in this year in 2021. So in 2021 in March again I went to play the qualifiers for Hans Women FC, because I know that if I want to play for any other club, it is with them. And the tournament went on from March till April for a month, for about 3 weeks to be specific, 2021 days. And we ended up winning that league, the qualifiers, and we've qualified for the final round of the IWL. As I mentioned, they are a bunch of talented squad, really good people as well, and I like to play with them. They're really talented players.
That's brilliant. Congrats to you for making it to the final round and to your team, of course. So, we've spoken about the clubs in India, but since you have experience playing, abroad, I'd really like, if you could point out a few differences between the clubs here and between playing there, because we all know that there is a huge gap in terms of that. So if you could just point out some things from there.
Sure. The difference, I wouldn't really call it a difference. I think you need more of a paradigm shift in the way people see Indian football and football, how football is abroad. Like, I won't talk about anything major. I'll talk about the minor differences, like the minor shifts that are needed. I'll just give about 2, 3 points. Maybe number one, if you see abroad, they always have a year-long season. For example, if you talk about India, the major league is the IWL, that's the Indian Women's League, and that happens in a span of 30 to 35 days, right? Whereas abroad, any season goes on for at least 6 to 7 months. So I myself personally played from September right up till the month of March or April. So you get good 6 to 7 months of football. That's number one. Number two is the IWL in India has only 6 to 8 teams participating. Catch 8 teams. And if you want to catch a team is of 20 players, so 8 into 20 is 160. 160 players play the IWL, but what about the other 100, 200 players? India has so many talented players. So if you don't get to play the IWL, your talent is not seen. You don't get to represent your country because you're not able to get scouted. So the point being, abroad they have different leagues, they have different levels as well. They have right from grassroots level or competitive league till the professional level. So if you're not good enough for League One, you go down to League Two, Three, Four. Point being, there's a league for everybody. So if you don't fit in a particular league, you can play the other league, the lower divisions to be more specific. Whereas in India, there's only the IWL. Like I mentioned, that also lasts only for a month. Then another point being, if you talk about the infrastructure or the facilities, I spoke about discipline a little while ago and how Borderline is being a very disciplined team, right? But
Yeah.
in most of the tournaments you've seen, and Priyanka, when you've played, you would notice if the reporting is 1 hour before, there are players coming in just 15 minutes before. There are players coming in during the match, right? So there's no much discipline over here in India. Whereas abroad, if you have to reach 1.5 hours before, you have to reach 1.5 hours before. Let me give you a personal example. When we had an away game, which also brings me to another point, there are home and away games as well abroad. Whereas in India, you just play on one stadium itself. And I don't even want to I don't even want to get to the point about how the grounds are. Okay, that's a different topic altogether. Abroad,
We
even
can
the
even have a whole episode on grounds in India.
exactly, and it's I don't want to name any ground. I don't want to blame any organization. Nothing. I'm just telling you what I have experienced. So, what was I telling you about? Yes, my personal experience. If you're playing an away game, if you have to report at a particular time at the university before the bus leaves, the bus will leave you and go if you're not there. That's how disciplined it is. So the point being, there's a major paradigm shift needed in how people see women's football in India and how football is seen abroad, because there it's very professional. There, like I mentioned, just these 2 to 3 few points, if in those changes can be made in India, there'll be a huge difference of football in India, especially for women. So that's
Yes.
the main shift that's needed to be made.
Definitely, definitely. I think you've highlighted like the main points, and I hope people watching this video actually, sit up, take notice of the things around. And we know that we may not be able to do too much, but just by spreading the word, listening to this, listening to the problems, and the small ways we can improve, maybe we can get something done in the near future and make it better for all the women out there who are playing.
Correct.
Yeah. Definitely. So, you obviously have been stressing a lot about discipline and a lot of other things, values that you learn from the game. And I completely agree with you because everyone has said you learn about life through this game. So, what are some of the things that you have actually learned about life and, used it on the pitch and off the pitch as well?
Okay, so that's a good question. So the main thing, like I mentioned, which I'm stressing on so much, what I've learned is discipline. Again, I'll give you my own personal experience, my personal example. If I know I have training at 6 in the morning or 6:30 in the morning at Churchgate, I live in Borivali, so that's like a 1.5 hour travel. I make sure I go to bed at 9 p.m. And that means having to skip any parties, any family dinner, any outings. I have done that because I know I can sleep. Yes, I can sleep at 12 a.m., 1 a.m., still get up and go, but I know I won't be fresh for practice, right? So that is one of the examples. For example, now I have a habit of sleeping at 10 because I know I get up for training at 6 in the morning. So discipline is one of the major things I have formed, and not just in sleeping, be it in anything, getting my work done on time, having a schedule on time. So all of these things I've learned through football. I've also learned leadership qualities, especially when your team is down by a goal or two, you need to win that match. You need to be mentally prepared yourself first. You need to be mentally strong, and then you'll be able to lead your team through it. Like, come on, guys, we can still do this. There's a lot of time. They can score two, we can score four. So that's another quality I've learned. Then another thing I've learned is bonding. People, like I said, I've represented my country, so people from different states, some people from the southeastern side don't understand what you're saying, right? So to try and gel with them, to communicate with them, how to bond with them, how to live in fellowship with them, because different cultures coming from different states. So all these are the things that I've learned through football that has helped me even grow as a human being and use it outside the field.
I can actually, testify and say that you are a really good leader because I had the opportunity to play with you for a year in college, and that was my first year playing with the team, and I was honestly so scared. But then you were like literally so sweet, and you were like, you can, join the team and you can do this and that. So yes, I've definitely seen these values that you put to use outside the field, like not during the game as well, and during the game too. That's definitely brilliant. Okay, so we've been talking about your journey, but obviously through this entire journey, there may have been struggles that you have had to overcome. So can you like tell us a few about a little bit about the struggles that you went through? And it's not been easy for you, I bet.
Struggles, honestly, I don't, to be very honest, I don't recall many struggles. But yes, my major struggle has been like initially about a few years ago when I started playing is I used to get tired very soon. I was low on endurance. I used to not be able to play even a normal DSO match, which is of I don't know, say 60 minutes or 30 minutes or half. That was my struggle. And that was my major struggle. And so to overcome that, I started training regularly. Despite whether that's team training or not, I used to start training on my own. I used to go for runs in the morning. Anything that I could do that I thought would help me in my endurance. For example, even now, although the pandemic is going on for over a year, my trainings have been on. Despite the lockdown, despite anything, despite clubs not training, I still have my training 5 days a week in the morning because I know that this pandemic is not going to last forever. Tournaments are going to come up, and I can't just wake up one day suddenly and say, oh, there's a tournament I'm going to play. No, I need to be fit for that, right? So, despite the pandemic, despite anything being on, and despite me knowing my drawback that I go down on endurance very easily, I know I need to keep my fitness levels up. And that's why, even despite this period of 1 year of no football going on, I'm still continuing to train every single day because, like I mentioned, I know this is not going to last forever. Suddenly they'll say next month we have a tournament. So I need to be prepared for that. So my main struggle is my endurance, and that's what I have to keep overcoming every single day by putting in the work into that. And that's what I've been doing all these years.
Yes, I think you highlighted something again that a lot of other girls in India can look up to and take inspiration from, because the work ethic, I don't think, is something that a lot of in like women, female athletes who are not playing the entire year round, they don't have that kind of work ethic. So definitely a lot of people, I hope you look up to Karen. Her work ethic sounds definitely really good, and I hope you make it because you've been putting in the effort. So as we can see in your background, pictures of you as a kid. Yeah, super cute. So from playing as a kid, as you mentioned, to playing now, how do you think you have grown in terms of the game?
Okay. Um, Grown in terms of the game, to be honest, I still remember the first time I went for my school training, as I mentioned, when I was 10 years old. The coach told me back then that the team is full, and my dad comes into picture. It was a new school to me. I did not know when the football trainings were going to take place. So my dad and I used to go every morning on the school ground and wait for at least 1 or 2 weeks, and there was absolutely nobody. Then we got in touch with people here and there. My dad got in touch and found out, okay, fine, this day practice is over here. We went over there only for the coach to tell us that the selections are over and there's no place. My dad requested the coach that it's okay if you don't take her in the team, just let her practice so that she gets practice. Don't take her in the team, that's fine. So the coach told me, okay, take this football, kick it with your right leg. I kicked. He said, take it and kick it with your left leg. I kicked. And the coach was zapped, and I was 10 years old. He straight put me in the under 14 team, not even in the under 12 team. So, my point being over here is I've been blessed by God already with a little talent. So, for me, what I had to do was work on it, improve on it, and work on my endurance as well. So how I've grown from then to now is I think I've grown more tactically, more technically, more emotionally. I don't play now just for the sake of fun of it. I know it's more of a mind game as well. Football is also played with your brains more than your legs, 90%. So I've grown to make better decisions in the sport as well. I've grown as a better person as well in the sport. And like I said, as the time has gone by, initially I just started playing as a leisure sport. I didn't, if you ask me when I started playing when I was 8, 9 years old, I didn't know I was going to make it big. Back then, I just played for the sake of it. When I started getting into these competitions in school, in district, then when I got shortlisted for the state camp, for the Maharashtra camp, that's when I know that if I put in the work, there is maybe some places that I can reach. So that's how I put in the work. And I really think I've come a long way because first of all, obviously by God's grace. Secondly, my parents' support, and then even I had the passion for it. So I put in the work for it. Because when I started playing when I was 8, 9 years old, I never imagined I would be here. I just played it as a leisure sport. So yes, it's been a long journey.
Like a child prodigy football, where like that was such an amazing story, and the growth for you to hear. And you mentioned a little bit about being like getting into competitive games and stuff. So when you enter these games, you go with a fixed mindset. So can you tell us a little bit about your mindset before going into each game?
Okay. About the mindset. So mindset is very simple. I know I go on the ground only to win. That's the only mindset that I have. And the main thing that I look forward to is to give my best. End of the match, even if I say I've won a game, I need to be convinced I've given my best. Because even if I win a game, but I'll be happy, of course. There's no doubt about it, I'll be happy. But in the end, there'll be like a feeling that I don't know, I didn't play that well. I could have played better. So my two main aim is, number one, obviously, like I said, always go on the ground to win the match, and second, I need to know I gave my best. So even if I know that the results have not gone in my favor, I need to be convinced that I've given my best. I've helped my team in whichever way I can. So that's the mindset I have. Every game, no matter which level or which competition is it, that's what I have in my mind clear.
That's definitely very necessary, because we hear like professional athletes also, like abroad, they keep talking about mindset, how it's so important, and it's really amazing that you also follow something similar, going into matches you play to win. And I think that's what we should be doing, and that's what all the girls also should be focusing on, and getting that in place as well. So brilliant again over there. So I think we've discussed your journey, and honestly, it's literally amazing, literally inspiring. I hope a lot of young kids also see this, get inspired by you, look up to you, just as we look up to a lot of other female athletes. I hope that's the kind of cycle we follow, looking up to people, picking up their good qualities and taking the sport forward. So, in terms of taking the sport forward, how do you think that we can get women's football into the spotlight?
That's a good question, Priyanka. So to get women's football in the spotlight, I think we need more fans supporting women's football. Like you must have read the recent news. They are having the men's ISL in November, if I'm not wrong. I guess October,
It is.
November.
Yeah.
What about the IWL? It's not happened for over a year. I mean, I'm not saying don't have the ISL. No, don't get me wrong. But why not have the IWL as well, right? Why can't we have more fans following Indian women's football? And let me be very honest, women's football people start playing at the age of 12, 13, 14, a girl starts playing. But why do you see most of the people's career ending at 19, 20, 21? You'll see very few, just a bunch of them going forward in the senior Indian team or playing in the IWL. And why is that so? Because as you mentioned, there's no future for women's football in India. You can't make a career out of it. That's when parents start telling their kids, go find a job. Because in the end, you have to find job and get money, right? You have to feed your family. But if you want to make a career out of women's football, we'll need more corporates financing women's football. We need more support from the corporates so that it reaches out to more people. We get more support from the people, more fans following women's football. And the basic things that we can do is maybe newspaper highlighting the local football tournaments, MDFAs, DSOs, or even the state leagues. If these leagues are highlighted more, these tournaments are highlighted more, people will be more aware. As of now, people don't even know if in one corner of the state there's a women's football tournament going on. People are not even aware of it. So I think we need to create an awareness, and most importantly, we need the same support as ISL has, and especially financially. And that's when women can look at making it as a career. Or else, when you become 20, 25, you're going to fade out of it, because how long you'll be playing for nothing? You're not getting anything out of it. Then you'll soon have to go and search for a job, search for a career. Whereas men, they play till the age of 30, 35, 36, because they know in India they can make a career out of it. So
Yeah.
I just think we need to create more awareness about women's football, be it at any level, district, state, or national level. We need people to be more involved and support them in the same way. Like I said, the classic example is we are having the ISL for men, but no IWL.
No,
Nobody
I
knows
don't.
why, right?
Exactly.
So I think, and we need people to sponsor women's football as well, the same way they sponsor men's football. So then I think that's when we'll see a future taking place in women's football in India.
Yep. This is exactly what we want to highlight on our show. It's all about the fans as well, as you mentioned, getting people to support. I don't think people even know about the local clubs, which is just like maybe a kilometer away. They are totally unaware. And this is why, so now I hope people, get to know there are clubs in Maharashtra, in Delhi, in Bangalore, in almost every state. And it's so good for us to be aware. And as you mentioned, in terms of getting the same platform, publicity, financing as the men's league, definitely, we would definitely agree on that. And to point it out, even on social media, we don't see a lot of buzz created around the IWL, which we hope can, come out soon, and like maybe on Instagram, Twitter, create some kind of noise about it. This is our
Absolutely.
small initiative to kind of put these kind of problems in the spotlight, and we hope people viewing it take notice of this, because it's really important that we do something about things that aren't going well. All
Correct.
right. Yep. You mentioned playing. The fans are an important part, and we at the Fanspire have been talking to a lot of fans. But from a player's perspective, I bet you've had like a bit of cheering and stuff from the stands, from the sidelines of the ground. How does that impact you as a player? The fans
Mm,
cheering.
to be honest, it's always been my family. Like, to give you an example, when I played for India in Sri Lanka in Colombo, there were almost 16 of them from my family who came to support me. And obviously, women's football, to be honest, nobody watches. So besides my family, there were just a bunch of people, obviously, who were supporting Sri Lankan team because they were from there. So in the entire stadium, I could hear all these 16 people, my family members, supporting me. And like I said, my dad and my family, it's like an outing for them. If Karen is going to play a tournament, say in so and so state, let's pack our bags. It's like an outing for them. So getting to your question, when fans support, like it has happened quite a few times that people whom I don't even know are cheering because they don't know my name. They'll be like, oh, that number 7, oh, that number 10 is playing. To be honest, it when you're in that game, you don't tend to listen to all this. Your focus is completely the game. For me especially, it doesn't bother me much. It doesn't get to my head that, oh, people are watching me, or oh, anything as such. Like I said, I just know I want to give my best on the field, and I try my best to cut out all the noises from outside, except from the coach, of course. But from the people who stands, I try to cut myself out from all of that possible. Even the people who are supporting the opposite team, it does play an effect on your head, because if there are majority of people supporting the opposite team, it does take a toll on your head, right? But I try to cut myself out of all these noises as much as possible, so that I know I can focus on my game and then give my best. After the game, maybe sometimes I go and meet my family if it's allowed by the coach, and then I thank them for the support. That's what I do. Or else in the game, I just try to cut myself out of all the unwanted noises.
Try to focus. Yeah, that's important also, because that can get you distracted very easily. And
Correct.
again, to point out your family support, I think that has been such a strong factor also here, and we hope a lot more people join your family in supporting women's football and coming to games, of course, once COVID is done. So
Of course.
we've spoken a lot, honestly, and I could definitely go on because there's so much to talk. But if since we are ending the show right now, any final words or final thoughts?
Um, Final words would be that if you want to aspire in this, if you want to take this sport forward, you, as a fan or as a player, if as a fan, then you need to support women's football more. And if you know there's a local tournament happening or any tournament happening, share it with your family, share it with your friends, make as many people as possible aware, so that women's football also gets a highlight in India. And if as a player you want to make a career out of this, the only suggestion I'll give you is, or rather advice, is what I practice myself, is put in the work, because one day you'll be rewarded for it. No matter anyone's watching or not watching, no matter if there's a tournament coming up or not, put in the work now and you'll be rewarded for it for sure. So that's all I have to say.
I think that is also very well put. Put in the work, and I hope you achieve a lot more. All the best to you for your future career,
Thank you so
and
much.
keep making us proud and keep making India proud as well.
Thank you so much, Priyanka. Thank you for having me here.
Yes, it was an absolute pleasure. And of course, guys, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, because this is our little initiative. What we can do for women's football, the most you can do is literally just get out there and share this with your friends, listen to the story, be inspired, and start supporting your local women's clubs. This has been the Fanspire, another episode with Karen. We'll be back with more. Till then, stay tuned and do subscribe to our YouTube channel. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you so much.